Hey all, I'm Veethika, the Senior Product Designer for Pipeline Execution Team, and today I want to give an overview of the findings that we have from a recent UX research that we did at the booth, the GitLab booth at All Things Open last week. It was a very quick game that we built as a survey on top of a framework that was already used at KubeCon for the secrets workflow research. And some of the questions that we asked our users were around like what is it that they look at, like what's the most important identifier on the pipeline list view, what's the first piece of information that they look for when they land on that page, and then some questions about like what is it that they look for when they see a pipeline failing or a failed pipeline or a failed job for their pipeline. What's the next step that they take? What's the information that they look for? And how do they act upon that information? And what is it that we can do from our end to make sure that they are able to debug and optimize their pipelines in a better way? So, taking a look at the insights that we received from that game survey, the first one says contextualize performance information. So, recently, if you can recall, we ran a research, an experiment in pipeline execution where we presented the performance related information close to the pipeline graph view. We had our own set of learnings from that particular research, but some information that we received from this effort was also kind of coinciding with our learnings from this other experiment. So users want to, they don't just want to look at like what's the slowest job, what's the one that has taken the longest time, or which is the one that has waited the longest. But they want to look at these information in the larger context. They want to understand the role of the runner, infrastructure, and other factors that are slowing down the job. So they can determine the fix in a better way and not just like they don't have to figure out a lot of things even after getting one set of information from us. Next is improve log output to be more suggestive of the next steps. So almost everybody responded that the next step that they take when they see a failed job for a pipeline is they go to the logs. And that's like the most common workflow when it comes to pipeline execution and especially debugging a pipeline. And yet, when they have to skim through the errors, they have to literally scroll through the whole job log output. We do have a feature that was added by patent that allows them to search. So if you enter the keyword error, you would be able to like travel through the errors on the log output. But still, if there can be a better way, since this process is still very manual today, so surfacing errors better or highlighting and even suggesting the remedial action, it can go a really long way in making the pipeline debugging experience better for our users. And this can be a cross-stage or cross-stage group insight that we're looking at because presenting some information related to the runner also kind of helps user build a context around what's happening with the performance of the job and pipeline. Next is present errors and performance insight at a higher level. So we asked users many questions about like how do you do it today and what can we do to help you do it in a better way. And most of them answered with a suggestion that if all this information was already kind of packed as a summary and presented at a higher level, preferably a dashboard. Like dashboard was not the presented as the absolute solution, but the proposal kind of like hinted at a dashboard. It's mostly a summary. If we are able to do that, then that would avoid uh, like that would help users not to go through like 100 steps just to understand what's the problem with their pipelines and then fix those problems. Another one is users want to see failed job status. So the majority of users, when they go to the pipeline list view, what they look at is like what has failed. They literally check, like scan for the check marks and the crosses, the red crosses, to quickly understand what is it that needs their attention. That means failed jobs is what they actually investigate into. We how I'm able to relate this with some changes that we can make to improve the performance of our page and also allow them to do this particular job better is through the pipeline mini graph. We present information about all the succeeded jobs as well in the same way as we provide for the failed ones. We can probably relook at that and provide more importance to the failed ones and make it easier for them to get the errors without having to click and go to the logs directly somewhere close to the mini pipeline graph. That's just a suggestion though. Anyway, the next one is flexibility to draw your own conclusions. So we learned that users don't want to be spoon-fed in a way that we see fit. There are many different personas, many different team structures, organization structures, which come into picture, and depending on the overall context on this uh, collective set of combination that come together, that kind of determines how users want to form their context and go about debugging their pipeline, how they want to understand what caused a particular problem. So providing raw data next to like any insight that we're providing so that our users are still able to form their own context. For example, if a team has multiple runners set up, they want to understand if their runners are causing delay in the execution of a pipeline or if it is something else. So they should have that, like we should enable them to be able to do that. Lastly, wait time on runner. So currently we do not do this. We do it in some other form, like I think on the runner fleet management page, the team has recently added this information about the wait time, the queue time. And it's a very useful piece of information while determining like why a pipeline is behaving in a way that it is, and what role does the runner have to play in that. Yeah, so these were the 6 learnings that I had, and yeah, and depending on this, we would be creating some issues, making some changes to the existing features that we have, and discuss with the team like how else we can act upon these insights. Thank you.